Uh, so yes, let's just get into it. Right. So I believe the last lesson that you guys did, you were going over the input, what's it called? Radio box. So we're doing radio box to change the filters on an image. So I don't want to continue on the same thing because there's multiple effects out there. I'll basically leave it to your imagination to expand on that code we did. Instead, today I was feeling a bit. I was feeling a bit underwhelmed, or rather, I should say, I think we need to have a little challenge, more or less, using one of the input, elements called input slider. Okay, input slider. Salem's feeling sleepy. If you need to sleep, you can go to sleep. Sleep is good, believe me. Yeah, so this one, right? So this input slider thing here, where you can slide from back and forth. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is, what if we can have something similar here where we can change the size of the image as we slide from left to right and vice versa. Okay. So I hope you're all doing well. So let's just basically jump into it, shall we? All right. So um, I've just done the usual, nothing fancy. I just created a folder there, which I called image underscore resizer. Okay. And there's obviously the HTML file, the JavaScript, which is blank, the CSS, which is blank. I've just linked them to the homepage. Okay. So there's nothing that I haven't done. The pictures of like an underwater turtle. That's what it is. It's just an animal. It's a turtle. So I'll just go dot image controls here. Okay. Then we'll do a form, but we're not going to do anything, right? And we want to do something called input range. Okay. So type, we go range. So minimum obviously is going to be 1. So we want to go from like 1 to 100. Okay. So value is where it starts. So if you wanted to start in the middle, so if it's like 0 to 100, 50% is the middle. You can probably start 20% if you want. So let's go start is equal to 0. I want to start at 0 actually at the very start. And then let's just give it a class and we call it slider, okay? If we go to a page, we should have something right here. You probably cannot see it because we haven't applied the CSS properly. But yeah, there is our slider there. For some reason, I don't know why it's saying 50, but it should have started here because we state start is 0. Okay. Okay, so let's just get to our CSS. Easiest thing, first thing we do is we remove margin and padding, so there's no funny business. Okay. Box sizing, border box. And then what did we call this? Yeah, turtle is okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay. I don't know if Salim is old enough to know that stuff, like Tim and T, like this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know them.
You know them? Oh, nice.
I watched
they're
it
pretty.
with my cousin.
They're pretty cool, huh?
Ah, they are ninjas.
Cool ninjas. Yeah. So you get that. So now the image is like stuck to your thingy, but I want to give it a specific size. Maybe let's leave it like this, shall we? Wait, it's like that by default because it's a challenge. We're trying to do something. And then now that you know image effects, okay, we can do filter grayscale where we turn it black if we want. It's up to you. There's no issue with that. And let's go dot image padding to REM. So the image is kind of like that so you can see where it is. Okay. I'll probably do a drop shadow as well. All right, cool. So maybe I'll drop the grayscale. Just have a drop shadow. All right, cool. There we go. So this is how our image is going to look. Now, I'll probably split this into two so we can see both files. There you go. Oh, why do you hate the color black? So
I don't like it.
you didn't like the color black? Really?
Yeah.
So we go display flex, and then justify content center. So everything just looks like that. Perfect. Right. So what's our next step? Easy. We just go to our JavaScript. So in our JavaScript, we want to call the image itself, and we also want to call the input. Okay. So first things first. Sorry, I'll make this a bit bigger so you can see. So we go window.add event listener. Okay. So we can listen for the page when it loads. I'll have to make sure I wrap this. We go console.log. Salim is here. And we can prove that if we go inspect. I'll go to the bottom, right? And let's go to console. All right, so if I save this, there we go. We can confirm that our script works. Now, there's another trick which I haven't shown you guys. It's something I kind of learned today or yesterday. I cannot remember, but it's something very cool because I think this is going to help you once we jump into the nitty-gritty of JavaScript, okay? Where you need to understand we need to understand like how do you know the whole in HTML text content. So let's do this, shall we? Just stay with me. All right. So I'll create a function here. In fact, I'll write it in CSS in ES6 syntax. So I'll go constant image resizer. Okay. And then if you remember the fat arrow functions, right, it looks like this. Okay. So this is similar to that resizer like that. So you can choose to either write it like this, that is completely up to you. But for the sake of trying to keep up with industry standard, I tend to write it like this. The difference being the keyword function is no longer there, and the name of the function goes before around parentheses. Okay. All right. So if you go back to the lesson where I taught this, but happy to explain it again at some point. Okay. So what we want is we want to call this image. So let's go constant image equals document dot query selector. Now, I hope you guys have picked up something with this query selector, but if you haven't, that is completely fine. So if you remember from our CSS, if I can squeeze something here. Okay, so if you remember from our CSS, right, we had something like a div tag called with a class image, and then we had the image itself with the source giving the image, right? But in our CSS, we clearly wrote image. So this is the div tag with a class name dot image, and then we say space image. So we went parent, child. So you can actually use this. You can literally call this right here in JavaScript like that. I just hope someone would have noticed that. If you haven't, that's okay. But I thought I should tell you that trick now. So you can actually manipulate CSS with JavaScript. Okay. I'll show you at some point, not today. There's a discussion for another day, but you can actually do that. All right. So let's go constant slider equals documents dot query selector. And then now we want to get the input style. This one, the range, this fellow right here. So this one, we can literally just use the class here and go dot slider like that. Now let's just call the function here image resizer, but let's do console.log image and see if that works, shall we? Cool, there you go. So the image element seems to be returned. That's cool. Let's do console.log slider. Okay, cool. So the input range is returned. Now, you might be, what I was alluding to is how then do I know things like image.inner HTML? How did I get that information? Well, good question. So with what we've been using console.log ever since we started, there's another method as well, console. It's console.dir, console.directory. Okay. And if you go console.dir image, it's going to give you, I hope you can see this. Maybe you can't. I'll make it a bit bigger. So you get the image element, and then if you drop down, you get all these attributes. Okay. You get all these attributes. You see that? Right. So it'll tell you that alt, if you remember from your HTML, image alt equals image. Okay. You can see it right here. Image alt image. So the way to access it then would be image dot alt. You see? Or for example, like if you want to get the height, you would then go image dot offset height. Okay. So this is how tall the image is currently on our screen. Now let's say maybe you want to get the outer HTML. There you go. It's the same thing. So I thought I should share that secret with you guys because I was trying to find a way to teach you this until I discovered it recently. I was like, oh, okay, that could be handy. Okay. And then I remember when I told you you can manipulate CSS with JavaScript, right? Here you go. you go to style, you've got the style attribute here. So you can literally go the image dot style, and then you can go dot background or border or whatever attribute you can think of. Okay, there you go. So good little tip for you, console.directory, and then call the element. Same thing. We're looking at image now. Let's look at slider, shall we? See? So input.slider, if we do a drop down, it's the same thing. You see now? We get attributes, we get the class lists, okay? We get the height of it. We get the default value, which is false. We get like value. I want to look at value. Okay, so that's fee. So this is all alphabetical. Right. So see how the value is set to 50, right? And then if you look at here, remember we're going from 0 to 100. What if we change it to 0? So all you do, because now you know it's slider dot value, you then go slider dot value is equal to 0. There you go. Do you get it now? Do you get where I get these attributes and stuff like that? Like if you want to look at maximum length or minimum length, you don't really need those. But if you need the width, you see how it's giving you offset width. So imagine you're trying to like do some fancy calculations. You can literally go console.log slider dot offset width. Where do we get offset width from? We got it from here. Okay. So yeah, I thought I should share with you those, little tidbits, but you've got console.log if you want to like print something, but you've also got console.dir for directory, and then you paste the element that you want to do. Now, enough of this. So the one I wanted to show you in the input slider here. So we want to look for something where we can track when it's changing. All right. So we can probably look for on change this one, because what's going to happen is if we move this, it's changing. Okay, I'll probably do the CSS a bit better. I'll go HTML body, and then I'll say padding bottom, and then I'll go 5 rem. Right, so we can have some space here. All right, so when we move this, so when you click your mouse and you drag this, this is literally changing. Okay, so yeah, you can probably do on drag. That's fine. But what we want is on change. So what should we do? So easy. Now you can do it two ways. I'll show you two ways to do it. So you can go slider dot on change. So on change is a function on its own. So it would look it would look something like this, and then you can choose to go function like that. But remember, guys, if you're doing ES6, right, which is ES6 syntax, stick to ES6, don't mix the two. Okay, so instead of me doing it like this, I'll just go like that, because that's also a function. And then I'll go console.log and say input slider is changing, just to track and see if we've done it correctly. All right. So onChange is not a function. Good. Now we know that we've made a mistake. What do? Let's research, shall we? So W3 skills, input range. So I go to W3 schools a lot. If you meet someone who says they don't research, they're a liar, okay? Everyone researches, including me. Okay. So what do we want to do? I forgot step. Step is actually really good. So step is how many intervals you want to go to. So if we're going to go up in tens, we want to go step is equal to 10, like that. Sorry. That's something I forgot, but please bear with me. I'm just still trying to calibrate on my first day back. Okay. So let's see. What if we do it this way? So the on change didn't work like that, but let's go slider dot add event listener. So instead of going on change, we pass change as a string, and let's do a function callback here, and let's go console.log. Audrey is changing values here. Let's see. All right. Okay, so he didn't complain then. So I don't know what happened. When I did it the ES5 way, it kind of complained. When I did it this way, it seems to have liked it. So there you go. Okay. Oh, there you go. See that? So if you move it and then let go, it does do something. Okay. So you'd click it, drag, let go, and then you'll do something. So watch. So if we start from here, I'll click drag and then let go, and then it does that. You see? And then it does it again. So it's not doing it in real time, but that's okay. Our code is always open to improvement. Now let's do this. While it's doing that, let's go console.log slider.value. Okay, so let's record the value as we do that. So if we go whoop, we got 30, we got 40, we got 60, 70, 90, and 100. Okay. So if you can clearly see that the value is changing as we are doing that. Now, because we've got step 10 here, if we remove the step, because we're going up in tens, I want to see what it looks like. Okay, now it's 19, now it's 38, now it's 59, now it's 71, now it's 90. See? Interesting. All right, I see that. So now it's 71. Can we get an arbitrary value? We've got 55 there. We got 23.
It says Audrey is changing values here.
Yeah. So you see, Audrey was changing.
Look, it's zero. It's zero.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're at the start. We are at the start. And now, yeah, we went back to the start of the range. So now let's check what type of value this is. Is it an integer or is it a string? Okay. All right, so let's see. So if we go whoop, it's a string. Okay. Now that's fine. Remember why it's a string. If you expand this and go to value, you see how it's wrapped in these quotations? It means it's a string. But we want it as a number. So you can do it this way. If you don't want to do the math, you can do value as a number. So you see here where we typed console.value, okay? We can probably do it as value as number, all right? So I hope you guys are finding this helpful, because if you need to check what's a string, what's an integer. This will help you. Just console.dir, and then you can expand your element here, and it will give you all these attributes. Okay. Hope that helps.
How did you write a lot of things?
How did I write a lot of things? I don't know. I just write a lot of things. So let's say let
But
current.
every period you say you are lazy.
I am lazy. Believe me on that. Programmers are lazy. That's a secret I should tell you now. All right. So that's our number there. Now, what about image? Okay, so we've done everything we want with this. Okay. I don't think we need any of that. Now what's with our image? So let's go console.dir, sorry, image. Okay. So like we're gonna do what Queen normally does and check out the image. Okay. And then remember, right? The image itself, we used CSS to manipulate it. Okay. So you can do it two ways. You can use scroll width to change it, or you can use style dot width to manipulate, the size of the image. So it's up to you. You can always, there's multiple ways you can do this. I want to make it as simple as possible. Then, for you guys, the sky is the limit. All right. So instead of doing style, instead of using our CSS, which we can, why don't we go with scroll width and see what happens? Oh, there you go. Width right there. I don't know why I was pacing up and down. So width there. So the width there is the same with the scroll width. Now you might be saying, what's a scroll width? Remember when the image was like offset? I'll remove this. Okay, so you see how the image is like going off the screen? Okay, like this. I'm literally scrolling from left to right. Okay, so if we refresh this, what's our scroll width? Yeah, see? So the scroll width is 1,920 pixels, okay? And the width of our image is 1,920, okay? But when I say the width 100%, it's squished down to the size of this, okay? That's what scroll width means. Scroll is like if you have to like go off the screen to see whatever's there. Okay, so I know what to do now. Now, let's say since our image has width here, why don't we say every time the slider changes, we go so we go image dot width, okay, is equal, all right, to, now what do we want it to be equal to? So remember our slider is going from 0 to 100. We've only got 2 minutes left. So if we want this number here, so let me just print out this number from the range, okay? So log.current slider value, okay? So this number here from this range, you see this? We want to change it to a percentage. So it prints out as like this. So when you slide it, it starts as 10%, 20, 42%, 61, 97, 100, okay? Depending on where you are on the spectrum. Now, this, once again, is the ES5 syntax. I prefer to use the ES6 because you have these two backticks, okay? Pay attention. So instead of these apostrophes, you press there's a key next to number 1. So you know how on the keyboard there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top, and then one's got the exclamation mark, yeah? There's a key to the left of it with the backticks. So QWERTY keyboard. I think I explained this in the last lesson, but repetition is always a good form, okay? So you see this, okay? So you see this key right there. So you see how you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we want this key, the first one right here with the squiggly thing. So you press that twice to get these backticks, okay? And then you hold down Shift and press number 4, okay? And then you open this curly braces to pass the variable current value slider, okay?